Okay, good afternoon. So I'm working on the whole deck joint flange here. As we see, there's a good amount of separation running almost the entire length of the boat. I have found a lot of makeshift repairs. This here appears to be resin that someone just dumped down into the joint and then put the rubber rail over it. So I've been peeling that back on the top and the bottom, and then we have some screws for some reason horizontally going into the flange. So I don't know what that's about, because normally when they fasten the flange together, it's a vertical piece which runs perpendicular to the flange, joining the two halves together. So in case you don't know, boats are manufactured, they manufacture the deck separately than the hull, and the two are brought together and fastened. This boat is quite old, it's 1974. It's definitely been under stress over the years, and we just have a lot of separation going on here, which is not totally uncommon for a very old boat, especially when it's been abused or neglected. Just wanted to show what I'm doing. So here's the nail. So I'm going through with a punch that is about, it's almost exactly the same diameter, slightly smaller in diameter than those nails. I'm gonna call them nails, might be wrong. But so I go under, find the bottom, and I'm just tapping them up here. So, and then I can come through with a pair of pliers and pull them out the rest of the way, and she'll come right off. Where was it? Somewhere over here. It's really bad, really bad. Right here, the flange is just trashed. And yeah, that's about where the sealant is. I think the sealant might be more over here, but probably over here as well. Oh, wow. Look at that flange. Oh, it's totally cracked off. Damn. Well, yeah, I haven't gotten that far. I'm still tapping them out over here. I'll get to here. This is probably going to disintegrate almost, at least the bottom part of the flange when I take this off. It's in really bad shape. Yeah, you can't sail with that. Not ideal anyway. All the stresses of the sailing is going to pull this thing back and forth and slowly work its way and just slowly pull the boat apart. Not to mention the water intrusion. All right, back to work. And if you're wondering, yes, the flange does get damaged a little bit during removal. Let's see, as long as there's no fasteners and it's just sealant. I missed a fastener there. Okay, let's take that out real quick. Okay, I'm gonna walk fast forward to this part over here is pretty bad. There's quite a lot of separation, though I can't really squeeze this together too much. I wonder if there's anything on the inside of this. So this is going to be a long, tedious process. So one step at a time. So, change of plans. As I'm pulling out the staples along the boat, I have noticed that it is fully separating, and now the hole is starting to bow out, as you can see. So I'm going to stop for now and clean up the inside of the joint and glass it from the inside. That way it's basically clamped on the outside of the staples. And then once it's all fiberglass from the inside, then it can continue pulling the staples and the screws out of the flange and not worry about the boat actually pulling apart and bowing out of shape. So, unforeseen, but now it's obvious that it's happening. So, all right. Let's take a look. So, this is the joint that I'm talking about. Let me turn off the light so you can see the sunlight's coming through. And that is the area on the outside that's bowing open. You can see the sunlight. So, what I'll do is go ahead and clean all this up, which is going to be a nightmare. And the reason why, aside from that it's tight in here, oh, look at those screws. Look at the silicone. That's silicone right there. Epoxy and paint, etc. does not like to stick to silicone. And the problem is you peel it off, but there's going to be residue, silicone residue. So we might have some serious adhesion problems. I'm going to try to, I'll lay it up pretty wide. I guess I'm going to go ahead and order some tape. It's maybe like 4-inch wide biaxial tape. And then in the meantime, I can just go ahead and spend my days cleaning this up on the inside. We'll have the clamp over there. We'll clamp it in place on the outside. We'll have fiberglass from the inside here. So we got this all the way around. The entire boat needs to be taken care of. Man, it's gonna be a nightmare. It has to be done though. It just has to be done. This is gonna be a project in itself. Maybe next year this thing will be floating in the water, but we'll see. Once I get the whole deck joint all taken care of, it should move faster. Okay, back to work. Project Seahorse out. Boy, that came out easy. Not really torqued down at all. Wondering why this is so quiet? This one's just a cheap Harbor Freight ratchet. I packed it with grease, and it's way smoother and quieter. Almost too quiet though. I like the ratcheting noise, but it feels nice.
awful. It's absolutely horrible. I've been in here for hours, multiple days. I'll probably be in here for the next 8 to 10 hours. And I'm going to see how far I get. This is pretty bad. This is pretty bad. Check it out. Oh, it's tight in here. Okay. Got a classic previous owner fiberglass repair. There's a little silicone or some sort of adhesive. Let's see. Not bad. It's kind of tough. Oh, interesting. Yeah, multiple plies. 1, 2, 3. All right, it's almost. It was almost adequate. But realistically, I shouldn't be able to do this with my hands. Build my scraper. But I guess I'm just going off the fact of the color, and I don't even know if that's really accurate, the color, but the layers peel apart relatively easily. I mean, there's still some adherence, but with polyester, you're supposed to separate the woven layers by chop strand mat. I can do this. I can do this. Alright. Not bad. What is this? What the hell is this? What is this? This looks like wax paper or something. Okay, I've been in the process of grinding away at the whole deck joint throughout the boat. On the interior, it's been a long, tedious process. I've spent many hours bathing in fiberglass. So, but in the process of doing this, I've made some discoveries throughout the boat, just some things that need to be taken care of. This right here has turned out to be quite a major issue, or at least a past issue. There's a previous repair here. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up too well, but from here to here, there is a layer of CSM, chopped strand mat, that's been laid up here, and it actually extended all the way up to the whole deck joint and wrapped up onto the top side, or the underside of the top side, if that makes sense. Right to about here, you can kind of see it. I've ground away at this joint here to kind of, I wanted to prep for repairing the whole deck joint, but I also wanted to reveal what's going on over here. So we definitely see a lot of filler in here, and you notice that at some point there's been a major crack in the hull of the boat and even on the deck and top side. So you can see that crack there extending up, and I'll grind away more and reveal what's going to happen here. I'm going to have to think about how I'm going to address this repair. I don't really mind it looking super flush here when I do the repair, so that's something to consider. But I think I might be able to lay up, you know, a doubler per se on the inside, and then maybe sand down and taper on the outside. So we'll see. This is definitely going to have to be addressed. I'm going to show you real quick what it looks like on the outside. So run over there. I might need a flashlight actually. Ow! Nailed my head. Been doing that a lot lately. So, alright. From the outside, let's see, can you see? So this is on the outside of that repair. There's the flange here at the whole deck joint is thoroughly cracked. I mean, it wants to break right off actually. At some points it looks like it's been shattered. There's been some mat laid up over here. There are screws installed in the flange. So definitely something happened. This is another thing to take care of. You know, obviously I was taking care of the joint anyway, so. I do want to add that this is the first previous repair that I found on the boat that actually seems to be properly bonded. I would like to do a layup of biaxial cloth to increase strength here, but the CSM, the chopped strand mat, is actually bonded pretty well. But this is absolutely the first repair that I've investigated, a previous repair by a previous owner that has actually been bonded properly. So that's interesting. Everything else is kind of disintegrated and peeled away when I touched it. This here actually was pretty good, so no surprise. But I am gonna do some reinforcing here. So, all right, back to work. Good morning. All right, it's bright and early. I've been trying to push myself to get started. I really don't want to, but I really need to. So one of those days. Also, I've spent a lot of time on this particular project with the boat, which is the hull to deck joint, of course. And I'm kind of tired of doing it. I've spent innumerable hours trying to clean up contact cement within the joint, grinding it away, trying to make sure I have a clean layer of fiberglass. It's kind of hard to tell in this light, but I've ground away 2 inches on either side of the hull to deck joint, and I'll be laying up some 1708 fiberglass cloth. It's actually in tape form, so it should be easier just to kind of roll it out. But I think I'm going to wet it out first and then put it up here. But I'll wet out the surface and then use a filler with the epoxy and fill in that crack, and then let that set just a little bit, and then I'll lay up over it. So now around, these are from the
chain plates, and so around the chain plates, I'm going to end up laying down some cloth in this area just to kind of stiffen it up, just for reinforcement. I don't know if it's really necessary. I just feel like I should do it. So, but basically, from the bow to the stern, I'll be laying up in the flange, and once that, check it out. There's some more damage that needs to be taken care of at some point soon. But anyway, let's not get too distracted. I'm gonna go all the way back there. Back there, it's really, really bad to work. It's tight, it's miserable. It's not fun, it needs to be done. But I'm gonna start by cleaning up the joint with some solvents. I have the Total Boat Surface Prep and Dewaxer, as well as acetone. I have this nice little sprayer for the acetone. You pressurize it and pull the trigger and it just sprays it. So I can kind of spray it into that joint. But I'm gonna do the Total Boat Surface Prep first, because it stays on the surface longer. It should help dissolve and remove whatever might be contaminating the surface, which I'm sure in this case is probably plenty. But yeah, I'll get that taken care of, and then start my layup. And I feel like I wanted to say something else, and I don't really remember. But anyway, and then over here, it looks like I missed a spot, so that'll have to be taken care of up in the corner there. We'll see, maybe I can scrub it away with solvents, but I see a little bit of contact cement residue. Let's see if I can get that to dissolve. There's going to be some reinforcements at the bow. The deck is going to be reinforced. There's a lot more flex up there than I'd like to have, especially with the pulpit. The pulpit where it's attached, if you're hanging on it, there's just a lot of movement in the deck and surrounding areas that I want to get rid of. And there was cracking noises when you pulled on it, so I don't like that. But I'm actually going to reinforce some of the area with Boeing 737 cabin floor panels, which is a honeycomb structure. Laminated fiberglass. It's super lightweight, very strong. I happen to have some that were decommissioned from an airplane. Well, the plane wasn't decommissioned, the panels were. They remade the panels, and so, but they're fine for my use. But anyway, well, that'll be another little episode at some point. I don't know if I'll use any of this footage. I'm just kind of rambling and looking. It doesn't look fun down there, does it? Does it look fun in there? It's not. Alright. I think I just want to make some progress on this part of the project and feel like I'm moving forward, because I've spent innumerable hours cleaning up this joint on multiple days. It's been a real pain. And then I go back and I'm like, oh, I missed some area, I go back and clean it up. And I think if it wasn't for the contact cement that was on here, it would be a lot easier. And I've gotten like really OCD about it contaminating where I'm going to lay up. So, man, a little discouraging at times with how much time I've put into this thing and feeling like it's just so far away from sailing. I'm like, oh man, putting all this time into this boat, and it's just a boat. You know, but hopefully I can get rid of that feeling. What is this? Who knows? That looks suspicious, doesn't it? Almost looks like there's some cracking going on there. Anyway, alright. Project Seahorse, back to work. So cleaning up the contact cement and removing the silicone and other adhesives from the hold deck joint on that seam there. I spent a lot of time trying to remove it. And at some point I did the best I could. There was still a lot of contact cement, especially in that joint or right next to it. I ended up getting the wire wheel on the grinder. And I found that was kind of best for a quick removal, trying to minimize how much gets pushed into the fiberglass, because maybe another method, maybe using sandpaper, maybe it would get hot and the contact cement would decrease in viscosity and kind of get more down in the material. So, but I figured the wire wheel, out of frustration, ended up just being a better option, and then using an excessive amount of acetone, a lot of acetone. I ended up buying a 5-gallon small barrel of acetone at Home Depot for $90 rather than the 1 gallons, because of how much I was using. I just really was worried about contamination here and wanted to make sure it was well flushed and well wiped down, just to minimize how much contamination in the fiberglass there. I really need this joint to be strong. So normally I wouldn't use that much acetone. I don't think I've seen anybody else use that much acetone, but I just wanted to make sure for peace of mind, because there is so much contamination there, that I was removing as much as possible. So, and acetone does dissolve the contact cement, but it evaporates way too fast. If you keep flushing it, it will get gooey, and you can kind of scrub it out and reduce it. It's not the best. There might be better options, but I experimented around, and that was definitely a big struggle. At this time, I'm definitely confident that the joint is very clean, or at least clean enough for good adhesion. I mean, sure, there might be microparticles in there and whatnot, but I think I went above and beyond with, at least with the situation at hand, with what I was working with and the amount of contact cement and silicone sealant.